Hello, 5th and 6th grade scientists. So yesterday we learned that we can change the freezing point of water with salt. And we also talked about the real life application where people use salt on their sidewalks, on porches, on their driveways after it snows, or after there's a thin coat of ice on there in order to remove that ice. However, it doesn't work after 20 degrees below 0 Celsius. So at that point, the salt no longer works. Okay, so today for the investigation, and it's going to take a little bit of time because we know how long it took in order to show the melting of the ice yesterday. So you're going to need, if you want to do this with me, it's string, a cup of ice, and some salt. So you're going to take your string and you're going to find one of the ice cubes. I like this one. And you're going to put your string on the ice, and then you're going to pour a thin layer of salt over top of your string. Okay. Now, we know that this ice is going to make the salt is going to make the ice melt. So what will happen to the string after the ice starts melting? So we know that the salt right now is changing the freezing point of the water. And so it's going to change state. So it's going to begin to liquefy or turn into a liquid. And so in so doing, then, it will start to melt around that string. Well, then some of that water then is going to filter down to the ice below, and it's going to start cooling enough where it starts to refreeze. So we know that salt lowers that freezing point of water below 0 degrees Celsius. When you add salt to the ice cube, the salt will lower the melting point of the ice, and then the salt is in a thin layer, so it melts just a thin layer on top of that ice cube. The water cools again and cools down further, and it will refreeze, hopefully, over the string. So at that point, then, I will be able to lift that string up, and without touching the ice cube, I'll be able to lift that ice cube out of the cup. So, let's see here. Put a little more salt on there because I'm seeing the string, and I want that thin layer to be over top of that string, covering that string. So as that is starting to melt, and I notice down below the salt, I'm not able to see all of the salt anymore, and I'll show you a little closer. It's starting to melt that ice cube. So that ice cube, I can tell, is already liquefying, and I've already got some liquid down in the bottom of my cup. So as it is melting that ice cube, then it starts to refreeze around the string, and ta-da! Then I can pick up the ice cube. But remember, it's already gone through the stage of melting that ice cube, lowering that melting point of the ice and liquefying that ice cube, changing the state of that ice cube. But then as that thin layer on the top cools again because of the ice underneath, the coolness of the ice underneath, then it refreezes then around that string. So that's just a simple way, another simple way to prove that we can change the freezing point of water when using salt. All right, so tomorrow is our last day for science, and what I would like you to do, I'd like you to take a look at the things that you will need for tomorrow. It's a very simple lab. It's a tasty lab, and we're going to have a little party tomorrow. Okay, so gather those things up before you start working. You may want to leave the ice in your freezer until it's time to get that out. You might want to go ahead and put it in your bag. All right, so tomorrow we'll use science to make a tasty treat. We're going to be using ice, we're going to be using salt, and we're going to be making a tasty treat. All right? So I want you to keep thinking, keep watching, always stay curious, and come back tomorrow for the party.